The report is called The Road to Zero Wealth, right? And it simply states that by the year 2053, that if we continue with the same trends, that black and brown people will actually have zero wealth. We have a concept called the mortgage ready concept. What that simply states is that everybody is a homeowner, but not everybody's mortgage ready. We crowdfunded together. We use the barter system. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You know, you're a lawyer, you're a teacher. My kid's coming to you.
Welcome to the Trauma Overhaul Podcast. I am your host, Tiffany Singleton.
And I'm your co-host, Aaliyah Simon.
And we are back with another episode. As you know, we primarily focus on trauma. And as we know, trauma can be caused by a lot of different things in our lives. So today, we are going to talk about how poverty and poverty mindsets can also inflict trauma in people's lives. And today we have a very special guest with us, Mr. T. Todd Simon, the managing partner of the Simon Ray Group. Welcome to the show, Todd.
Oh, man, thank you guys for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for having me.
So we are so excited. We're going to dive right in, and he's going to give us some background on different mindsets concerning finances and building wealth, and hopefully leave us with some tips that we can all implement in our lives going forward.
Yes. First, we would like for you to tell us a little bit about what you do and your cause, your purpose.
Let me first start by saying I love what you guys are doing with the Trauma Overhaul Podcast. I definitely support, share, like what you're doing, love the dialogue that happens. I think is much needed in our community. My background primarily has been in banking and finance for a little bit over 20 years. I'm a actual Navy veteran. I did engineering, gas turbine engineer in the U.S. Navy. And shortly coming out of the Navy, I just started in banking. And so I have been, dealing with some level of banking, finance, helping people achieve their dreams for a little over 2 decades.
Wow.
Right now, in my current capacity, I'm the managing partner with Simon Ray Group. We actually specialize in commercial and residential financing. But more often than not, when we're out talking in the community, I like to challenge and have an educational approach to challenge the mindsets and things that cause us to make bad decisions in our finances. Because I believe it's not that we don't have it. I think we just have a lot of bad habits that are generational that can sometimes stop us from achieving our primary and family financial goals.
That's good.
Nice.
Yeah. So I've been seeing in the news a lot lately something about by a certain year, and I don't want to quote the wrong year, but it says something about by this time there will be zero wealth in the black community.
Yes. The report is called The Road to Zero Wealth, right? And it simply states that by the year 2053, that if we continue with the same trends, that black and brown people will actually have zero wealth.
Wow.
I think that's an alarming statistic.
Very much so.
We already know that we're dealing with socioeconomic disparities and things of that nature, but to hear that we are on track to zero means that that bell should be ringing in your mind daily to say, what am I doing to have some level of financial plan to make sure that I'm not in that number that is leading towards zero. I think that's kind of difficult to me to hear that, Aaliyah, Tiffany. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, not 50, not 25, but we're saying zero.
Right.
Woo.
Right.
Wow.
And 2053 is not far from now. We're in, 2024?
Correct.
Think about, when we hit 2000.
Yes.
We can think back. That wasn't that long ago.
Long ago,
Right.
correct.
Right.
Wow.
So, how fast do you think the next 24, 25 years is going to pass?
Right. How does historical and systemic issues contribute to this alarming trend?
Well, I think, when you look back historically, there have always been laws, redlining, things like that kind of stopped us from actually having access to wealth.
Right.
And when you fast forward that till today, most of the time, the people that you're talking to, they may not take the time to understand your unique situation. I believe that people of color have unique sets of circumstances that if we focus on it the right way and actually give real life solutions, that we can actually overcome. The problem is, I think that most people don't have the time. Maybe we get caught, maybe the people that you're sitting across in the bank, maybe they get caught up in the neck rolling that we do, right? Maybe we get caught up in the bonnet that the person may have on their head at the time, a do-rag or hat to the back,
that's right,
tattoos, any of that. But that doesn't mean that person is not a home buyer, right?
That's correct.
With our team, we have a concept called the mortgage ready concept. What that simply states is that everybody is a homeowner, but not everybody's mortgage ready. And it's our job to get you mortgage ready.
Oh, that's great.
Right.
Wow. That's awesome. So what do you think are the most significant economic disparities in the Black community?
I think it's income. I think it's income, which directly correlates to education, right? And when you go a step past that, I think it goes into our daily spending habits and our mindset when in relation to wealth, right? I think and this is my personal thought. Don't get mad. Nobody start DMing about this.
All right.
But I believe that a lot of times in our culture, we'll rather look good losing than maybe look bad winning.
Ooh, you said a mouthful right there.
And that's my personal thought.
Yeah.
Because we value liabilities over assets. So we'll have $100,000 Range Rover and pull that up in front of an apartment complex.
Right. Wow.
Versus have $100,000 house and have 2015 Toyota Corolla, but you own. What's the difference in that? We're talking about assets. We're talking about something that can actually be willed, transferred down your generational line. Something that can be willed to your children, something like that. Not leaving them with debt. And car notes that they can't necessarily afford because you can't afford it while you're on Earth.
Yeah. Right. Wow.
So I would like for us, like for you to distinguish, because people out there are making income, but they don't have what's called wealth, right?
Yeah.
So can you explain to our audience the difference between income and wealth?
Yeah. So when you think about income, those are the wages that you have from your job, right? So wealth starts when your money's working when you're not, right? So if your money's working while you're asleep, you're on the path to building wealth.
All right.
Right? And so that happens by doing things like understanding, what investments look like, right? Understanding how your mutual fund works, right? If you have a 401k at your job, actually asking the question to the financial advisors about what is the investment strategy in which you have my money invested, right? How is it growing? Ask questions and educate yourself on what is actually happening in the things that we're doing. I believe that a lot of times, we have certain vehicles that are in place through our jobs, 401k, 403Bs for teachers, things of that nature, right?
Right.
But if we don't understand how those things are being allocated and invested, then you're just leaving that up to whatever asset manager that may not even have your best interest in mind.
Wow.
Right? And so when you look at those things, as you start to just educate yourself on what is going to make money when I don't have my hand on the plow. Right? What can actually grow? What can actually move? What can actually generate if I'm not clocked in?
Yeah. Passively. Yes.
And the more things that you have happening passively is how you actually build wealth. Not when you have to get up and clock in and be present to make the needle move.
Wow.
That's good.
That's so true, though.
Yeah.
So when it comes to home ownership, I think there's also a disparity in the Black community with that.
Majorly.
And I know your group had a goal at one point to, I think, was it $1 million?
Yeah. That's when I was at. I was a regional manager with Legacy Home Loans at the time. And shout out to Legacy Home Loans, Ben Slayton, Nick Boucher, my president at the time. Our goal as a company at that time was to make sure that we had 1 million homeowners, right? And it was the largest black-owned mortgage company, but that focus has not changed. I know with our team, myself and my partner, Net Foray, we worked together at Legacy. We ran the Southeast.
Wow.
And so we together created Simon Ray.
Okay.
So
That's awesome.
the legacy didn't stop.
Right.
The marathon continues.
That's right.
The goal still continues. The purpose is still the same.
Wow.
And so we're just really, singularly focused on making sure that we achieve the goal and move the needle in any way that we can when it comes to educating and understanding that, home ownership is the cornerstone to building wealth.
Yeah.
If you are renting, then you're basically making your landlord rich, right? Because you got to have somewhere to stay,
right?
So you're going to pay that rent payment, right? And typically a rent payment is going to be higher than your mortgage payment,
right?
So you're actually giving passive income to your landlord. So the person that owns where you rent,
right,
your rent payment is paying the mortgage and is giving them the spread between what they charge you and what their mortgage is.
Right.
So let me give you an example. So let's say somebody that you're renting that house from, say you pay $2,000 a month.
Right.
But the mortgage payment for the house that you rent by the owner is $1,200 a month.
Right.
That means they have $800 difference. So that means that's $800 passively, monthly, that the owner is making.
Right.
So you see how just a small tweak in how you think about stuff, particularly when it comes to home ownership, and that's how you can get passive income.
Wow.
Right?
Yep.
It doesn't always start with the big mansion. Sometimes it starts with that smaller starter home, that 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom, that may be considered an ugly house in our community.
Right.
Maybe you start there, now you rent that a couple years later, and you move up to the next house. Now you're actually getting passive income.
Yes.
And it's not always about the flip.
That's
Sometimes
right.
it's about holding.
That's right.
Right, so you can build a portfolio.
That's really good. So we getting some good nuggets
Okay.
already,
Yeah,
right?
let's go.
Yeah.
We talking today. We
That's
talking.
good.
So I hear some solutions in there already. So thank you for that. I do want to go back to kind of talk about the interplay between trauma and financial behaviors.
Ooh.
So can you explain, or do you have an explanation of how trauma can impact an individual's financial behavior?
Yeah. Now this isn't necessarily scientifically proven and all of that, right? This is my opinion.
All right. Okay.
So I like to always preference that.
Okay.
'Cause, people will fact check you. People will fact check.
Oh yeah.
And that ain't what time it is. So this is my personal opinion. I think we all suffer from trauma on some level, right?
Yes.
Coming up, growing up in our communities, right? For example, a part of trauma that I've realized over the past several years is that I understood more so how to operate in lack than abundance, right? So I was taught that I mean, look, my mama was a hustler. She could take $25 and feed me for a whole week and her.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
So you get used to understanding how to hustle, how to actually operate in lack. You have to learn how to be successful. You have to learn how to actually operate in abundance. So, right, what happens a lot of times is we bring just behaviors. We bring check cashing situations, right? We bring, the
Title loans.
Yeah, I was going to come to it. Title loans, check cashing, title loans, high interest loans, payday loans, things of that nature that we just do, right? And it's no coincidence. It's no coincidence that in our communities are where they put those places.
Right.
You don't see them in other communities.
That's true.
That's predatory lending. They actually put them in the places that we live,
right,
in our neighborhoods. So there's no coincidence that you have a Title Max, a check cashing place, a liquor store, and a Chinese restaurant on the same block.
Wow.
Because you're going to over leverage yourself, right? You're going to get drunk, and then you're going to eat food that's not healthy for you.
Woof.
Wow. I mean, you making it so plain, right? But it's the truth. Yeah.
That's trauma, though, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
it is.
So if we be honest,
Wow.
so you know, so if we talking about health, right?
Yeah.
We don't eat well.
Yeah.
Right. Most of our communities are in a food desert.
Right.
So the place that you're going to get your fruits and vegetables are from a Dollar General or Family Dollar.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's carbohydrates. That's processed meat. That's spam. That's tuna in a can, in a package, all that kind of stuff. Right. And then, you know, as soon as you get your paycheck, you're going to get you a bottle. Right. And then when you go back to, this is the part with the title companies and stuff that's a problem, is that a lot of those loans have like, that interest rate might be 200%, right? So that means that when you, like a payday loan, right? So you borrow, I don't know, let's call it $1,000, right? On your paycheck, $1,300 might be due,
Yeah.
right? So if you got paid $1,500, you see the cycle.
Right.
So if you got paid $1,500, $1,300 is due. $1,300 is due. You got to borrow the $1,000 again. So you starting in a deficit each pay period.
A revolving.
And it's revolving every single time.
Revolving. Yeah.
You follow me?
Yes.
So you're gonna get caught in that cycle when you're doing it, and I don't think we realize it a lot of times because we just it's normal. And we just got to challenge what that looks like, what that feels like, because you know you could stop.
Yeah.
You could stop. You could not get your nails done,
Right.
or get that lace front done one pay period,
Right.
and you'll have the money to get yourself up out the cycle. But guess what? We'd rather look good losing than win.
Wow.
That
Look good
was-
losing rather than win.
I had more questions.
I told y'all I was coming today. Told y'all I was coming.
Okay.
Yeah. What are some helpful ways that if somebody say, okay, well, I hear what you're saying and I know I want to start saving.
Yes.
What if they're saying, well, I don't make enough to save? What are some easy ways that we can just start small with saving?
Save $5.
Okay.
Turn 5 to 10.
Okay.
Turn 10 to 15.
Yeah.
Turn 15 to 20.
And don't touch it.
And don't touch it.
Don't
All right.
touch it.
This is okay. This is what we do with our children. I explain this a lot with our girls. Right. Cash App has the way for you to invest in Cash App. Right. So inside Cash App, you can actually invest in stock and you can buy Bitcoin.
Wow.
On Cash App, right? So when you think about it, look at what you actually have on, right? Netflix, Disney Plus, Google, right? You wear, you got a Kate Spade bag, you got Jordan's on, you got Nike, you got all of that,
Yeah.
right? So those are the things that we actually consume, right? These are things that we pay subscriptions to monthly.
Yeah.
Okay, buy the stock. So if we're talking about actually saving, right? Say you got $5, right? Take $5,
Yeah.
buy $1 Netflix, buy $1 Disney, buy $1 Nike, buy $1 Bitcoin, buy $1 Kate Spade. You just invested.
Yeah.
That you just saved it.
Wow. And I mean, you make it so I know it's just as easy as it sounds.
It is.
just
Yeah,
saved
it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it grows.
Yeah.
So now you're investing in the stock market.
Wow.
So you can start.
yeah.
But what happens is back to what you guys were saying earlier is mindset.
Yeah.
So you think that you got to get to a certain level to even start,
Wow.
right? But guess what? You'll go buy a value meal and extra get it extra large with extra fries. That value meal costs $10.
Add 50 cents for the ranch.
You feel me? Let me get extra ranch. I need lemon pepper wings, extra crispy. Because I like lemon pepper wings. I'm sorry. So like lemon pepper wings, extra crispy fries, and a large diet soda. Right? That's how we.
Yeah, that's how we roll with it, right?
So
I ain't gonna lie, that them
right?
fries be good.
So Tip, what's that? That's $12-15.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you could have ate at home.
That's right.
And you could have took that same $15 and you could have bought the stock of the company where you were actually about to go buy that food from.
Wow.
So what you're saying is people should take a look at what they're spending their money on.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Come up with some type of budget, some type of plan of action.
Right.
Because I might say $5 today, but then next week I'm like, oh, I don't have it.
Right.
Because I just spent it on this. But if we begin to get serious about that thing and change our mind about it
Yes.
and say,
Yes.
I want to come up with a plan of action.
Yes.
Right.
But we supposed to be making plans, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Make it plain, writing it out.
That's
Because that's what the word says, right? That's what the word says. So making that plan, making that budget, and then deciding, right, that this is, and handing it over to God too.
Yeah,
so, you know what I'm saying? And maybe even having a friend that's holding you accountable.
Yeah.
That, hey, did you save that $5 like you said?
Yeah, that's good.
Or get somebody that can do it with you. Another
Yeah.
friend that's, hey, girl, I'm going to start saving $5 a week. What's
Yeah.
up? You going to
Yeah.
help me out? You going to do it with me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, starting off small, making it creative.
Right.
Yes.
You know?
I love it.
Yeah.
I do want to add another piece to that. And maybe this might be the military in me, right? Is you don't need nobody to hold you accountable. You hold yourself accountable.
Oh.
If you want something different, then you got to do different. So you can't keep doing the same things that you've done. That if you're broke now, you can't keep doing the things that you're doing because you're already broke. So if you're going to do something, and if you want something different, then change it.
Right.
Nobody has to hold you accountable. Hold yourself accountable first, then accountability partners come beside you. Right?
Yeah.
Because if you're, you know, word says double-minded man is unstable all his ways.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if you're double-minded and you start one thing one week and you can't stay on track week over week, then how can you expect to be blessed?
Consistency. Consistency.
So it got to start with you first. You got to look in the mirror first. You got to look at, because your accountability partner is not going to know the things that you spend and what you do when you on Amazon and when you on, you follow me?
Right, yes.
You know what I'm saying? On TikTok Shop. I got a problem with TikTok Shop.
Really?
I ain't lying. All right, so TikTok Shop, your accountability partner not going to know what you buying on TikTok Shop.
Oh, yeah. Because you can log in secretly. Ooh, and it's so easy.
Oh, my
I bought a
gosh.
couple things over there. And
I
was
just got
satisfied.
something delivered today.
I know. I was satisfied.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But
Yes.
So
Yes.
you can have an accountability partner all you want, but you got to hold yourself accountable. So if you
Right.
look in the mirror and you know
Yeah.
that you didn't hold true to your plan,
Yeah.
then you gotta. It's all about the language that you speak to yourself too. You know, a lot of times we get stuck in places because we've let ourselves down.
Yeah.
You know, maybe we made a promise, maybe we made a vow to ourselves. I'm gonna do this next year when I get my tax return. I'm gonna do this with that. And then when that time came, you were not focused enough, and then you blew that. So now you broke a promise to yourself. Now you're disappointed in yourself. So when we talking about trauma, like bring that back too. Sometimes it's about the language and the unbroken promises that you have to yourself
Right.
that stop you from thinking and believing that you can actually achieve it.
Wow.
So then you'll rather quit than actually do the hard thing, do the work. You'll rather quit because you already got some internal language that is already telling you that, well, you ain't gonna stick up with it. You ain't gonna follow it.
Yeah.
You know, because you gotta fight that inner voice
Yeah.
Yes.
that's trying to stop you from winning as well.
Yeah.
So it's an inner battle.
It sounds like that's some of the generational patterns that are handed down.
Yes.
Through generations. So
Yes.
we also have to be informed through financial literacy, because sometimes if we don't know, we can't change the behavior.
Right.
Right.
If we don't have anybody that can instruct us or help us and guide us.
Right.
Right?
Tell us about some of the things that you've done out in the community with trying to raise awareness when it comes to financial literacy.
Yeah. You know, I am always, you know, teaching at home buying seminars and things of that nature. I've done a lot on college campuses. You know, I did a seminar at Tuskegee University. I'm coming up on my 5th consecutive semester teaching at USC Law on a class on business development.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I just take an unorthodox approach, really. You know, I'm challenging. Like, so a lot of people that's coming, it's something where you might see, you know, T.I.P assignment as a facilitator or a panelist. We're not about to talk about the minimum credit score.
All right.
We're not about to talk about the little amount of money that you got to bring out of pocket. I'm not about to answer that question. I'm going to challenge you to strive for the stars. Shoot for the moon and land on the stars. Because if we only talk about the minimum, then that means you're shooting for the bottom of the barrel. And we've been doing that long enough, right? Because that's a trauma response.
Yeah.
Because you want to be safe, right? So we've had things, talked about socioeconomic things that stopped us, and laws and things that were in place that beat you down when you were trying to strive, right? But at this point, it's invisible. You do it to yourself now. So yeah, when I'm talking to any home buyer, if I'm doing any home buying seminar, if I'm talking on any college campus, if I'm doing anything of that nature, I'm challenging anybody that comes in my existence to be great, because I challenge myself to do so every day.
That's awesome.
I know that you've been to high schools as well.
Yes.
What are some of the things that you talk about with high school students and financial
Thank you
literacy?
for bringing that up. Wow. I'm so proud of this. There was a real estate class that I taught at Eau Claire High School here in Columbia. And it was about 60 students in the crowd. And I did an example where I asked them first, I challenged them to dream first. I said, if you had $10,000 right now, what would you do with it? Right? Some of them said, I'll start a business, I get some money to my mom, you know, I'll do this, that, and the third. So then I asked them to take that a level deeper. Okay, if you're going to save, then what are you going to save? What are you going to do? You want to start a business? What business? You know? And then from that point, we did an example about how credit works, right? And we had a couple of students come up. A group of students was the bank, one was the consumer, and one was the voice that's in your head that's stopping you, like, bro, let's go to the club, you know, let's do this, that, and the third, you know. And they saw the cycle of having to be responsible, how the bank lends the money, how you have to be responsible with what you have been entrusted with, and then how you have to overcome the noise of daily life to make the payment on time. And so, yes, that right there was probably one of the most impactful things that I've been able to do. I really got an overwhelming response from them. I wasn't planning to give them the money that we you know used in the example, but I went ahead and let that fly. I let my little lunch money fly that day. It was really eye opening for me. And you know, shout out to Pooh Abrams, Esther Starks, and the whole staff over at Eau Claire High School, because they're the only school in District 1 that is actually piloting that particular program.
Wow.
You know, I'm a graduate of Columbia High School. We don't have anything like that. I pray that each high school, particularly in District 1, which covers the inner city, that they have some level of program that's like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be real estate. It can be some level of trade, because not everybody's going to go to college. And right now, we have to realize that there's more than one way to become successful, and it may not be the college route. It could be the trade route. Electricians, plumbers, you know, people that do heating and air, and all of these various things. All of these things are things that are wrapped around the real estate industry. It's not always an agent or an actual broker. There are other things that are service related. So if you're good with your hands, you can still affect change in our community.
And build wealth.
And build wealth.
Because they make good money.
They make great money.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They make great money.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you've touched on a lot of good things and given us some strategy. Just one thing in closing. Can we distinguish being rich versus wealthy?
I'm going to say it like this. All right. So rich is loud. Wealthy is quiet. Rich, you got to show it. You riding in it. You wearing it.
Right.
right? And rich is a couple of bad paychecks away from being broke. Like, you just winning this season. So if you don't have the discipline to sustain that and do some things that puts you into the mindset of becoming wealthy, then you can have a layoff. You can have a bad season. You can have something that is out of your control that can almost have you homeless if you focusing on being rich, right? Because we're wearing it. It's jewelry, it's earrings, it's off-white sneakers and all this kind of stuff. You got on $5,000-$10,000 worth of clothes instead of having $5,000-$10,000 in the bank. That's giving you a return of 5 to 7% interest. That's the difference between being rich and being wealthy.
Right.
In a nutshell.
In a nutshell.
You know what I'm saying? Because think about it, right? Elon Musk, right? Mark Zuckerberg. How do these guys dress? They got a suit on with some sneakers and they chilling. They got
modest.
a t-shirt on underneath the suit, or they got a regular plain Jane t-shirt on with some jeans and maybe some dunks.
Right.
Right? That's about as high as it's going to go. Somebody that's rich, I got on $25,000 worth of jewelry. I got a Rolex on. I got a bust-down Rolex on. I got bracelets. I got gold teeth. I got $3,000 earrings on. I got $2,000 jeans on. I paid $7,000 for my sneakers. I did all this kind of stuff. Like, you're wearing it.
Right.
So, what would you rather do? Would you rather look like you're winning? Or would you rather
be
win?
winning.
And that's what
That's
it
a good
actually boils
question.
down to. And if we really unpack that, guys,
Yeah.
that in itself is a trauma response.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because we, particularly for black men, we've been overlooked. We've been devalued. Our voice has not been heard. We've had to fight and scrap for everything that we get. We've had to not be fresh when we grew up. We've had to not have the things that we like to have. We've had to sacrifice for things that we didn't cause. So when you get an opportunity to be fresh, I'm going to be the freshest thing anybody else seen. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at being fresh,
Right.
but to what expense?
Right. Does your bank account back that up?
Correct.
So, I'm a firm believer in I'm not wearing a $5,000 bag, $10,000 bag, and I don't even have that in my account.
Right.
Yeah.
So you won't see me walking around with the latest bag.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't have that in my account.
Right.
Right.
So because I don't, it won't.
That's right.
Right.
Type of
That's
thing.
right.
And so that, and
I
that's
think
that's a mindset too.
Yeah.
It's a mindset. Until I have this amount of money, I will not have this.
Yes.
Right.
Because I'm not placating, I'm not being authentic, I'm not being myself
Right.
if I do that.
And I want to bring up another point, right? So, if we think back over the years, and I don't know the actual number, but we know that in America we're the biggest consumer,
Yes.
right?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
And so I think it was several billion,
Yes.
right, that we spent as far
Right.
as the consumer base,
Yes.
Yes.
right? So if we spent that, if we spent billions of dollars, it's three things. Why can't we crowdfund together?
Right.
Why can't we work together? And why can't we support each other's business?
Right.
Right.
So if we're spending billions of dollars in other people's communities, what if we took a portion of that and spent it in our own communities?
Right.
Right? Then we'll win.
Right.
Like it's not like it hasn't happened. We see examples of it. Black Wall Street, it's been historic examples of that process working in our favor.
Right.
It's the whole reason that we have HBCUs because we educated ourselves, right? We crowdfunded together. We used the barter system. You scratch my back, I scratch yours.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You a lawyer, you a teacher. My kid's coming to you. You a blacksmith. You fix shoes. I'm coming to spend that money with you. So when we don't do that, then we get and have the results that we have that lead to 2053 being on the road to zero wealth.
Yes. Yes. So we need to learn how to be better consumers, more conscious consumers, but we also need to be better business people as well.
Agreed.
You
We need to have
know,
grace with each other, man.
Yeah, we need to have grace because guess what? Definitely that, because sometimes stuff happens and it is something that happens somewhere else and you'll still go back to that store.
Facts.
Right. But if something happens in our community, it's like, nah, I'm not going back there ever again because they messed up.
Right.
Or they didn't get my order right or whatever. One shot, you get one shot and you have to be perfect. And it's crazy because you understand that on a whole nother level because every time you're doing something, you have to be way better than the next person.
That's right.
You have to be perfect in everything that you do. And then you expect for the other person to be the same way when you know how much weight that is on you to be that way.
Right.
Correct.
And we're talking about building wealth, right? So if we're talking about, working together as far as businesses and spending money together and things of that nature, right?
Right.
How important is feedback, right? How do I get better if you just stop coming to me?
Right.
It could have just been a day because we might have been understaffed that day.
Right.
So your wait was a little bit longer than normal. If that was your first experience, instead of coming, to the manager or coming and saying, hey, our experience was terrible, I just want to let you know. Give me the opportunity to give you a 20% off coupon and give you the opportunity to come back. Let me give you an apple pie.
Right.
Come back and see me and let me make it up to you. But no, we're going to pull the money away from that business. We're going to talk negatively to everybody that we know about how bad that experience was, and we're not going to give constructive criticism to help that brother, that sister, that black business grow.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's true.
I see that. I really see that in what I do.
Oh, it's true.
When it comes to helping people get qualified for houses, like I don't get it. Like sometimes they they don't want to tell me what's going on with the finances. Like I'm not going to see it.
Right.
Like, you're trying to get pre-approved.
Right.
I need to see your bank statements, your tax returns, your W-2s, all of that.
Right.
So you're going to lie to me on the application, but give me the documents where I can go ahead and dissect it and tell you what time it is. Like, stop playing with me.
Right.
Stop playing with me.
Because you're actually there to help.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
Don't hide it from me.
Yeah.
Let's give us the information and let us help you succeed.
Right. Yeah, because we all had to learn at some point.
We did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell the audience where they can find you.
I'm out here in these streets. Y'all on all social platforms is T.Todd Simon. The Simon Ray Group is Simon Ray Group on Instagram, Facebook, IG. And our email address is SimonRayGRP. So it's SimonWrayGRP You can email us, ask us any questions, and from there, we'll respond in a timely manner and give you the application or whatever it is that you need to actually get started. The link to our website to actually apply. If something inspired you tonight to say, I want to take the first step, the website to get started with our application is www.simplehomeapp.com. So that's www.simple, simple, home, HOME, app.com.
Okay. So if anybody wanted to, talk to you about maybe doing a financial literacy class for their church, their community center, their high school, college, that's the way they can get in touch with you as well?
They can get at me at any of those social outlets. So either at our email at Simon Ray Group, or you can DM me at T.Todd Simon on Instagram, Facebook, and all other social platforms.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you.
And my personal email address is contact@ttoddsimon.com. So that's contact@ttoddsimon.com.
Thank you.
Good. Don't worry, I ain't put the number. I'm not gonna give the phone number out.
I was not about to say that.
To those of you who might not know, T.Todd is Aaliyah's husband.
We're not giving the number out. Y'all DM me, email me. Yeah.
Yes, he's
in real
taken.
life.
In real life, he's taken.
Well, listen, we are so grateful that you put us in your busy schedule and drop some nuggets here for our listeners.
Yes.
And we look forward to partnering with you in some way in the future.
Absolutely.
And once again, if you are on the road to home ownership or desire to be, please feel free to reach out to the Simon Ray Group and they will get you on your path.
That's right.
Any closing thoughts, Aaliyah?
I think we covered everything, and understanding that poverty is trauma. So just acknowledging that, and then just making a decision to change your mind, get into a different mindset. It's time for us to build wealth. It is time for us to leave a foundation for our babies. We need to leave a legacy.
That's right.
And home ownership is the best way to start.
All right. And once again, we want to thank you to all of our listeners and viewers for tuning into the Trauma Overhaul podcast. We look forward to seeing you again soon. And if this episode was helpful for you tonight, which I know it was, please do not forget to hit that subscribe button, like, and share with somebody. And once again, see you soon.
Bye.